All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our second installment of our yet to be named podcast, which this week we are calling Final Fantasy Week because a lot of Final Fantasy stuff happened this week. And today I am joined by my same two guests. I have next to me here is Aaron, and on my
Hello.
other side is Tony.
Hi.
Also, and I am Damiani, who you know from game trailers, and as always, our in-game names. If you actually play Final Fantasy XIV, I play as Avatar Korra. Aaron plays as,
Kagari Asuha.
and Tony is,
Grim Grandiron.
and we play on Ultros in the GAF FC. By the way, that is your cue to try and come find us right now and ruin our shot. Good luck. But yes, a lot of Final Fantasy stuff happened this week. I think we should start with the biggest one, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 15 episode Duscae. We finally got to play it. What
Yes, it's real.
it exists, and
It's super real.
it's real. It's got a lot of work to go. I think after seeing it, Tony's probably like feeling really good about our bet right now about the December
Oh,
Yeah.
December release.
I think that you
Oh,
made
hang
a
on.
huge mistake.
Just turned up your mics real quick. They should be louder now. Sorry, I had to like because real quick because Skype is also on the same audio as like the game audio like channel on XSplit. The game audio gets super loud, so I have to turn it really far down. But then for whatever reason, Skype is super quiet, so I maxed them out right now. So please let me know if they sound better now. But yeah, let's start with that. Aaron, you got to actually play it. What were your thoughts after playing episode Duscae?
Well, it's funny because I actually wouldn't have been able to play it when I did because I woke up really early that Monday when apparently they let the codes go live for a short amount of time. And I saw your post on NeoGAF and I was like, well, I'm gonna make sure that I get that too. And I checked it and it worked. And I was like, oh man, I'm downloading the demo, you guys. It's real, it's happening. And I actually didn't get to play it at first because at the same time, like all the review embargoes went up for Type Zero, so I had to do work on that. But once I actually finally got to play it, I was pretty impressed. Like you mentioned, there are some issues, but I think on the whole, it's actually a decent chunk of what players can expect in the full game when it comes out, probably sometime next year. Not in December, but next year.
I don't know. I'm starting to think next year might be even optimistic, but
Oh,
but
really?
hey, we,
Really?
we went we went we went over this. I have my troll mode where things are just going on in my head that are bullshit. And then there's serious mode, which hit when I played the demo, which basically
Yeah,
said
I
this
mean,
is not coming out this year. It's not even
it
coming out early next
really,
year.
honestly, I don't even think they should have called it a demo. It's more of like a first look, like super early alpha preview build kind of thing. And I've seen some people comment saying, "Oh man, this thing is like super close to release and this is going to be the final quality," but it's definitely not close to release and
Still got a
the
ways to go.
issues oh yeah, and the issues in the demo, it's things like frame rate, the visuals are kind of rough in a lot of spots. And there's things with the actual systems in the game that definitely need some work, but it's safe to say that the game is definitely a ways off from now.
What about you, Tony? What are your thoughts after getting to see so much of it and finally see people getting their hands on it?
Yeah, so the story behind that is that we had one of our colleagues, Sharjeel, do the Type Zero review, Type Zero HD review. So he's the lucky one that got to play episode Duskai early. So I was super jealous of him because it's been so long in Final Fantasy 15. Like a part of it is actually real. We can take a controller, we can give it a spin. It's finally playable in some form. So I spent a lot of time watching him play it. I spent a lot of time lurking Twitch chats and seeing what people thought of it. And A lot of people are really optimistic about it. I think, yeah, people understand that even though it's an early demo, early first look, whatever we want to call it, people are getting really positive impressions of it. So that's been pretty cool to witness.
I was I mean, I kind of give my thoughts into the videos I've gone up and during the streams. But for people who don't know, I really liked the concepts they were showing to me. But I do feel there's a lot of work to be done. I will defend one small thing that I did complain about earlier. A lot of people are not happy about the camera work and the lock-on
Yeah,
targeting system. But somebody in the stream I did yesterday pointed out that once you do the focus, like you focus on a target, if
the
you
lock on,
push,
yeah.
yeah, there's an actual lock on button, which is the R3.
Yeah,
And
I actually figured that out later, and I was like, well, I mean, you shouldn't have to like take an extra step, I suppose.
I guess,
Like help
yeah,
in that
yeah,
sense, because especially coming like right off of playing Type Zero, which has a pretty basic lock on. Like you push the button and you hold it, and then you're pretty much locked on forever. So coming off of that, I was like, oh well, why do I keep losing this enemy target every time it runs off the camera?
Yeah, you gotta unlearn some of those habits from Type Zero.
yeah. That's a good comparison. Like the Type Zero targeting, uh, I would kind of expect them to at least start with that as a template, and it wasn't even on par with that. It was just a slightly different and felt too disorienting at times until I got the lock on button part figured out. It was better,
Yeah,
but
and even after that, like I was actually messing around with it a bit last night, fighting the behemoth, and like not being able to take away that lock on super quickly was really obnoxious.
yeah. Also, I don't like when you have that lock on engaged. Maybe I don't know it. I could just be ignorant again. I don't know how to quickly shift to another target when you're fighting a group of enemies. That was
Hmm.
the thing. You would see an enemy behind you give you the alert that they were about to do an attack that you could parry. But I was locked onto an enemy the other direction. So it was panic mode trying to break the lock on and then try and face the other enemy. And I didn't feel it was fluid enough, or you couldn't react quickly enough, even if you saw it coming. The
Yeah,
inputs you needed to do were too many to reasonably react in time. Again,
it's
I could be wrong. Maybe there's
yeah.
an
Well, I
easy
mean,
way.
that's what I saw a lot from people on Twitch streaming. A lot of different streams where you could see them kind of fighting the camera a bit, especially when fighting in cramped areas and fighting Behemoth, for example. So you can definitely tell people were struggling with it, and that's one of the complaints that I saw was most prevalent.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's something that, I mean, I think they have time to work on that quite a bit.
Oh,
So
yeah, they definitely have time. So hopefully they take that type of feedback and sort of apply it to the game.
I also felt like yeah, I feel like aren't they doing a survey in Japan for feedback, and
They,
supposedly they're doing one
yeah,
yeah, they've
here.
already put up a survey that you have to have your code for the demo to even access it, and you have to have a Square Enix account. So I assume they've said that they have plans to do something similar for English speaking fans, but they haven't actually put up anything as of yet.
Okay. Well, it definitely feels like they want a lot of feedback from this early build so that they could tweak
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
like we said, it's definitely early. Like I'm honestly surprised in a lot of ways that they release something of the quality that it is. I mean, it does look nice, but it's definitely
rough.
really rough.
Yeah, especially I don't know how you felt about the actual combat too. I was asking a lot of questions on the stream to people who had played through it about trying to figure out why things did certain things at certain times. Like you arranged the weapons in a certain order, and that was supposed to be the way you attacked. But I was
Right.
noticing the weapon at the bottom of your list when you did a jump attack. That would be the one that came out during a jump attack. So I was like, okay, it's not the first one. But when you open with an enemy attack, that's the first one. But then there'd be times where you could hold down the attack button and you continuously attack. There'd be times when an enemy would jump away. I would stop holding the button down, but then push like forward on the L left analog plus the attack button. And instead of like the broadsword coming out, it'd be my spear trying to do this lunge attack. And I was like, wait, why did it do that time? Was it because of
Right.
proximity? And then the last attack wouldn't come out till their health, it was like the final blow. There was a lot of weird but sort of interesting things going on, but
Yeah,
I just couldn't fully understand it. Yeah.
it is definitely confusing. I still need to kind of mess around with that specific aspect myself, but I did notice one particular thing that tended to happen was every time an enemy was really low on health, I would always end up using like a specific weapon to kind of do a finisher on it.
Right. And it seems like a lot of the weapon deck customizing is very contextual, and I think that's going to be a theme that plays over towards release, where a lot of the different strategy you'll be having to form is, how you use these different weapons in these different contexts. And so you see that in the amount of effort that they put into the animations, and that includes kind of like like the parrying and the different abilities. So I think that at this point, since this demo is pretty early, pretty rough, that, it'll give people some room to, try to figure out the finesse of it. But I think as a system as a whole, I think that as they go towards release, it'll be refined to where you'll start figuring things out in a more natural way.
Uh, I agree. I also felt the tutorial they give you, the optional tutorial, could have been a little bit longer to explain some of the finer points, but I felt like maybe that wasn't the point. I felt like a lot of this demo was meant not only for us to finally get our hands on with it, but they wanted to see what players would do when not
Right.
given a lot of information.
I think though
See what
that's
they come up
actually part
with.
of the history in the last couple of years. There's a lot of feedback about Final Fantasy 13. There's a lot of comments saying there's tutorial sections that are 20 hours into the game. Why does this still hand holding me? So I
Why
think
do I
that
still have a tutorial?
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think going forward that they've probably reevaluated how they approach new mechanics in a game, and I think that maybe they want to relent just a little bit with the hand holding and see, hey,
Well, yeah, I
the
mean that's
players
even
figured out this and
obvious.
stuff. So
That's even obvious in like Final Fantasy 14. There's definitely not almost any hand holding.
Yeah.
yeah, you have your tooltips, and there's always that accessible help whenever you need to look up something, but they're pretty conservative when it comes to tutorials.
I also, going back to, I felt like they wanted people to explore and figure out things on their own and share the information with other people, and then kind
Yeah.
of watch people's playthroughs, watch all these streams and YouTube clips. Uh, One of the things that came out within the last day and a half was I kind of knew people were going to do this. They were going to find a way to glitch and go places they weren't
Oh
supposed to.
yes, I was
So,
Yep.
actually waiting for it to happen because as with anything, there's always somebody somewhere that finds something extra that's it's not available to, the public eye.
Hmm.
and it happened. People
Yep.
found a way to clip through the barrier using the impact from the passing by a speeding car. It took me a little while to do it
Oh
yesterday
man,
on the stream. It was kind of amusing.
I've seen it being used on the behemoth because the behemoth will spawn out of bounds, and people will use like the phantom swords to teleport towards it and then get out of bounds themselves.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that can be found out of bounds in the southwest corner of the map was Titan, or Titan
Titan.
statue. Uh,
Titan's like unfinished model.
yeah, Titan's like gonna wreck you once I get finished, but
Throw out those landslides, and I'm sorry,
Oh
that's the wrong
man.
he
type.
was hosting a cocoon on top of him as well. So yeah, there's your connection to
Is that
Final
what we
Fantasy
want to call it?
13. Yeah, we'll call it cocoon for now. You gotta remember this game's used to
Sure,
be
sure.
tied together with all these other ones. No, there. I think people were like, "Oh man, how could Square Enix like overlook that?" I totally think that was intentional. This is my
That's
opinion.
just the thing that
It was
happens.
intentional because if you go far enough out of bounds, it kills you and sends you back to the beginning. They did plan for that, so they probably left that in there as like a little nod, like big deal. You've seen that before in a trailer, right? That Titan image, right?
Yeah.
Was that was in there? That was in
Oh
one of the
yeah,
trailers.
we've seen
So
Yeah,
that
that
in the
was
there,
in
past.
the
yeah,
the Jump Festa trailer, I believe.
So I think they just left it in there as a reward. Like they don't care. Like this, they put out such a, as you said, Aaron, a really early build that shouldn't even probably have been called a demo. It should just be called like alpha, beta, trial. And I think they put that in there for people who were dedicated enough to try and do that crazy stuff and see it, and it adds to the longevity of the demo. I think because people are gonna be like, I wanted to go try that now. Like I already beat it like a few days ago. I'm done playing it. Oh no, there's more stuff. I don't know. It's that type of stuff that I feel like keeps even
Not
like
only
finished
that,
games.
I feel like it sort of lends to more attention to the game, which is definitely something that they want to see.
Yeah.
Look at all this secret stuff that's going to be in the final game that you can't actually play yet, but it'll be there.
Well, that's cool. I mean, like when they're going for kind of like an open world feel for Duscae and the final game too. So part of the enjoyment of that is being able to discover cool things that maybe no one else has found quite yet. And so you saw a lot of that excitement when people were playing the demo for the first time. And as we go towards release, I really hope that in this enormous world that they're building on top of this, I hope there's a lot more that we can get our hands on and discover rather than having, be led along by a string. People want that sense of discovery in an open world too.
Yeah. And besides
Yeah, that's
those,
actually kind of the one thing that I was a little disappointed with. And I know this is a quote unquote demo, but after you finish the main quest, there isn't really much to do. And I know
Yeah.
it's a demo and everything, but still I felt like you have this big area and all you can really do is find like little items here and there. There's a couple of like fetch quests that you can do, and of course you can level your characters up to level 99, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more. Like we've been waiting 9 years, so it's like, well, I want to play more, you know?
Well, that's a good thing then. They've stoked your appetite.
But I still have to wait like another year, so it doesn't help anything.
Oh man.
that's where you're getting episode 2 demo.
Well,
Oh man,
yeah,
I don't
let's
know
hope
if
Coming
they'll
so.
coming
do
in
another
December.
demo because I think this one definitely like it takes away from development time to make these types of things. So I don't think they're going
Prefer
to
if
do
they
another
didn't
one.
because there's so much that I want to be able to discover in this game that doing more, having more, just it's kind of like God. I hate bringing this up, but the Last Guardian, right? Like the less you know about it, the better. But we know
Yeah,
that's not
and
coming, right?
actually I
Right?
was like sort of touching on that subject. I was actually really disappointed that Square basically showed the entire demo on live streams and to the press and other events
Yeah.
before it even came out, because when I started playing I felt like I already knew what to expect, and I feel like the goal of a demo should be to let the players discover your game for themselves.
It's something that I'm really worried about because looking at how Type 0 HD was handled in the months up to release, there was a lot of spoilers going on in that game I think to get eyes on the game. And you know, I understand that maybe going into Final Fantasy 15, Square might be thinking, they need to get fans, looking at the series again. But I hope that, they don't cannibalize, all of the discovery, all of the story that, people are really looking forward to and expecting out of this game.
Yeah, I know it's kind of ironic to say it, but even after this long while where we had periods of like no information, but they've kind of swung the other way on that and started revealing almost too much.
I think yeah, like leading up to the demo, I stopped watching any new stuff because people. I know there are a lot of people complaining about spoiling the demo, especially the summon. Uh, I didn't want to see anything else of the demo because I'm still counting Versus 13 as the genesis of like caring about this back in 2006 with the first
Mm-hmm.
trailer. I had been waiting nearly 9 years to play something of whatever the hell this was gonna be, and I didn't want to. I cared more about gameplay. The story stuff, whatever. They've been showing some of that, but it's very, very basic stuff. I didn't want to see what was in the demo because I wanted to experience the gameplay part fresh without knowing anything. I was like, nope, I've waited this long to play it. I'm going to experience this knowing nothing going in. I just want to have that genuine first impression, and it's been worth the wait. And honestly, that was for as many flaws and issues as there were with the demo and the reality check that this is still a whiles away. I had a lot of fun playing it and wanted to replay it several times, and I still want to go back and replay it every now and then, just because it's it reminds me how much I really want to play this finished game and how long I've been like anticipating it.
Yeah, you're lucky because like me and Tony, we kind of have to write about these things on a regular basis.
Yes,
Um,
being spoiled kind of comes
so
with the territory.
so we got exposed to basically everything, and I guess there is always the option to not cover it, but then it it then turns into you're the only one not covering it, so that doesn't really work either.
Right.
Oh yeah, I get that as well. Like that was kind of a sorry, excuse me. That's kind of like a luxury afforded when you can just have someone else on the team like cover the thing for you, so you don't have to see it. But just a quick counter, and everyone's gonna be going back to this game, Zelda stuff. Like I can't ignore Zelda stuff because I have to be able to talk about it. So I've just started accepting about the time leading up to Twilight Princess. I just started accepting any bit of news out there, whether it's a major spoiler or not. I'm gonna have to see it and stuff like that. I would say, at least thankfully, I got to play. Was it Skyward Sword? We got it in just in time, and I got to play through it before the demo got data mined, and people found the cutscene descriptions for all the
Mhm.
cutscenes in the game, and people figured out like someone was posting a list of all the major events and their names, and they were all real. Like someone had the ending of the game and the final boss's name and everything. I was like, oh, that's legit.
Wow.
I'm glad I got to play through it right before that came out. So it's kind of like a balancing act with that. I know sometimes you don't always get stuff sent to you, so you don't have the benefit of being able to play through a game before other people get it in hand. So spoilers will get out there, and it kind of stinks. But I don't know. It's a weird balancing act, I guess. So yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
stinks that yeah, for you two, you had to like you will
Yeah.
continually have to
Well, in my
focus on all the
perspective,
details.
well, in my perspective, like I'm really bad about spoilers. Like I actually don't mind like ending spoilers because to me, like the joy of it is like, oh man, you see this shocking ending spoiler. Well, how did they get there? How does it come to this? And to me, that's more exciting, I guess. But I guess that's
Yeah,
mainly because after the years of covering Final Fantasy, like, I have to be exposed to it and it's a necessary evil, I guess, to, you know. But I've kind of come to enjoy a little bit, enjoy some of the suspense and how things happen. And, you know, that's just how it is, I guess.
Um, sorry, a lot of people in chat are talking about the Tabata presentation right now. I
Man.
guess there's the thread on Gaff right now about the concept art.
oh,
We'll get to
that
Well,
that.
yeah,
We'll get to
we're
I
going
that.
to talk about that,
actually
right?
I didn't actually cover that this morning on my site. Somebody else did, and I woke up and I saw it, and I was like, oh, somebody actually did work today. So,
You train your monkeys well, right?
right?
uh, but yeah, like you both kind of mentioned a little bit that you don't want them to waste any more resources on another demo at this point just to get the game out. I know
Right.
there have been other games that have done multiple demos. Do you think maybe
Absolutely.
once they get the game kind of close to actually being finished, the like it won't affect development time anymore? That they put out like a demo like that's more reflective of the finished product, and either put it out for free or bundle it,
I
with another
think
game.
if they can manage like a closer to release free demo for people who weren't able to play this early version, that might be, worthwhile as long as it's something that's definitely representative of the final product, and you know that they're not going to still be super far out from release or anything, and it doesn't hurt what they're actively doing on the final game.
Well, Aaron, do you remember? I think at one point, because I think there was some confusion about whether episode Duscae would be something that's a part of Type Zero or would be standalone, and there was kind of a lot of confusion in the messaging. I think leading up to the demo, I think Tabata in one of the active time reports mentioned something about releasing some sort of tech demo later in the year.
Yeah, that the way that was talked about wasn't said in any sort of certainty though. Like
Right.
it's something that they would like to do, and it would basically be that tech demo with maybe a little bit added to it from the sound of it, but it's not really a guarantee at this point.
Hmm.
So I mean, it
And
could happen and it could also not happen.
right. And even then, as something that they're releasing, I mean, it'd have to take time. They'll have to put resources towards it. They'll have to get it certified, so on and so forth. And, is it really worth it at this point? Do
I
we
think
do we really need it?
at
I'm sure
this
there's
point,
definitely
I'd
people that
rather
want it.
just see the final game.
Right.
I think having played this demo, I just really want to play the final game. Like stop giving me teases or little pieces and here and there. I just want to see the full game.
Yeah, that was my thoughts afterwards. I just wanted the damn thing. It's like, give me the game. I just want to play it. And like, I was just imagining like the city parts. Was like imagining back
Mhm.
to the 2013 trailer. I was like, oh man, those parts were legit.
Yep,
Like,
I really want to see that stuff again. Like I know they're probably gonna have like some big story trailer at E3, and if they show that stuff again, I'll be completely satisfied.
oh man,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a story trailer. I mean, episode Duscae had some story bits in it, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about that ending a bit, but it had a slight tease for the story that's to come. But I think right now, it's time for them to kind of start, you know, giving us bigger teases with the story.
yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
think a lot of
yeah.
people have questions regarding characters. I know a lot of people have been. I know characters have been quite a controversial subject about Final Fantasy 15 lately. So, what characters in, what
Not
characters
only
not.
that, but I think they need to get away from the demo area because we've seen that
Yeah,
for 6 months now, and people
show
are
us
kind of
more.
tired of seeing it.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, it looks really nice and they did a good job with it, but I'd like to see new areas.
more and more.
Do you want to talk about the kind of the end of the demo? The a
The
certain character that you meet at the end.
Cindy, right?
Yeah, I've kind of said my
You
piece on
mean you mean
that.
Sydney, right?
Oh man, are we about to go there? Are we about to have that conversation?
We don't. I mean, we really don't have to. I think. I mean, almost.
Well,
Do
I
you have
don't
any?
know. Like, I guess a few people who follow me on Twitter noticed that I've brought it up a bit, but the cutscene with Cindy, like I understand where they're going with it. It's like a cute, flirty cutscene, but I think it could be dialed back a little bit as far
A
as
little
the
bit.
camera work. Well, maybe a lot. Being a little
Definitely a
conservative with my
lot.
speech right now, but it was uncomfortable, and I don't know. Like, I understand, what they were trying to do with that cutscene, and I think it could be dialed back a little bit more with like the camera work, how the animation and posing is going, but it's something that I hope that given feedback, they'll take
I
another
mean, I'll
look
be
at.
honest, I thought it was really uncomfortable. Like, the flirty part was fine, but once they started focusing in on those specific
Right.
areas of her body, I was like, well,
The
that's
camera doesn't
not
really respect
that's
her at
not
all.
what I really want to see, game.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, I mean the scene itself, it's just, it's a fine flirty scene, the guys flirt, she flirts back, she flirts with them, blah blah blah. But it kind of goes into over the top, uncomfortable territory. So hoping they, take a look at that.
I will be curious to see if any of the feedback they get from it winds up in her getting an outfit change come the next time we actually see her in like a trailer or game. Like they give
Yeah.
her a more modest outfit, but keep her flirty personality. I don't think they need to like change her personality. Maybe the voice work, the voice actor, or I don't know.
Well, I guess
That's a
the voice
little.
acting is another beast here.
Yeah, I think that's been hammered to
Yeah,
death.
I played it in Japanese, so that kind of
Yeah.
tells you right there.
Yeah. The voice work is the voice work. Whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they give her just a different outfit, but leave her, keep her playful, keep her flirty, and still try and make it a little bit of like fan servicey, just not
Yeah, I mean, I
as
guess just
much.
respect her more as like a female character with regards to the camera and the
Right. I
posing.
mean,
Like
she's
when you
she's
walk over to there, seeing her
basically
bent over, it's kind of,
she's
I don't know.
in the demo as this female character who's there for what? Like her
She's there to
role
fix the
is
car, but like,
she's
yeah,
fixing the car, but then like the other side is, you've got the guys hitting on her and she's kind of into it, and then of course like you were saying, the camera is just like all over her, and I thought that was kind of a bit much.
yeah, there are ways they can tone that back just a bit to make that little bit, maybe a lot bit less uncomfortable.
Yeah, the Transformers Megan Fox comparison is exactly what I was thinking
Is
about
that
when
what
I
people
saw
are
it.
saying?
It's like,
That's exactly
man,
what it reminds me of.
Tabata was I don't know, maybe he's a fan of Michael Bay because I don't know, they have the same sort of weird things that
They're
kind of come about, like like with Sydney and in 15, and in Type Zero. um kind of made a big deal about being able to see
yeah,
under
there are
the
some
skirts of the
questionable
girl
scenes in there
characters.
too.
So I mean, it's not, I think that's more on him and not Nomura.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little tone deaf with kind of the conversations that we're having in video games right now. So to me, I'd like them to just, doesn't have to be anything apologetic. Just, take a look at it, reevaluate, and move on from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind sexy characters, but I think there's kind of this fine line between tastefulness and
And
going too far.
exploitation. Right. Yeah.
uh, yeah. I mean, I've said my piece. I agree. It was good. It's good to hear like more people's opinions. So I do see a lot of people who get upset about chastising her appearance because people are like, I just want to see whatever. There can be like one sexy character, and like yeah, I'm seeing people in the chat like wanting to know like how would people react to Tifa if Tifa was like unveiled today, and I don't know. I mean, I think it just shows how kind of game culture has changed since the
Yeah. I
90s.
mean, people have come to expect different things about how characters are represented. So, I mean, of course, we have that history where, there are Final Fantasy characters that have, really weird or really showy outfits. I mean, Yuna from Final Fantasy X-2 is another example of that. And
Yeah, but hers,
we didn't have the
I don't
same
know. I didn't
conversation
really
back then.
mind that, I guess, because
Yeah,
I don't know. At the
I mean,
time, it really wasn't kind of in your face sort of thing. At least I didn't think so. And even with Tifa, they did tone her down in Advent Children. So I mean, it's not like they haven't tried, I guess.
Yeah, I I mean I find characters attractive for like how they appear. Like when it's the point when they try and get a character close to like naked in a video game as possible. It's like really what am I looking at here? It's a video
yeah.
game. Like I don't really need that. Like you can go elsewhere if I need to see that type of stuff. It doesn't have to be in a video game. But honestly,
See,
like I'm the type who likes they don't need to be scantily clothed and stuff. I like
right.
more beautiful outfits and stuff. Like I look for like beauty in a woman, not like the whole make them as demeaned as possible with their appearance and the camera shots and stuff like that.
I mean, Final Fantasy's kind of had a recent history, or I mean, I don't know if it's recent, but it's been a while now, where a lot of the outfits, are some people would say goofy, some people would say really artistic, and I'm kind of the person that leans towards the latter. But even having like an outfit that shows maybe a lot of skin on a male or a female character, there are things that you can do like with the camera, for instance, and the animations that give a different light to how that character is portrayed. I mean, you can show skin, but you don't have to totally go overboard with shoving it in the camera, you know. So I think there's things that can be done, not having to drastically rework a character, how their personality is, or how they talk or whatever, but just taking another look at how a scene unfolds with that kind of a character and that kind of clothing I think could be addressed.
I think it would be funny if they just for comparison's sake, they should just make if it was possible, they should put an alternate scene where it's a guy in Sydney's position, like same outfit and everything, doing it like that, just to let,
Oh God.
and it, like be fair, give both, if
Well,
they're
we do have Gladio with his Gladios hanging out there a little bit. So that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, it's just like a joke. Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I,
No, I know
whatever.
what you mean.
I get some people don't find it like offensive. They like it and stuff. It's just understand it's just different opinions here. That's all it really is. It's not. Don't have to get too worked up about it.
Yeah, and I see in the chat somebody saying that it's Japan and we should kind of deal with it. Well, I mean, think about it this way though. They're developing the game in a sort of worldwide sense, and they've already been taking a lot of Western influences, and they've been marketing this game in a global sense. So I don't think that excuse really fits here because they're not focusing specifically on the Japanese audience anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree.
Cindy.
Another. Let's move on to the possible the other female. If you watch the post demo little video thing they put together, the audio visual novel thingamajig. Uh, I saw some threads. I watch it. You already mentioned it alludes to possibly some stuff we'll see coming forward, especially the mural, which has Rama in one corner and possibly the other summons there.
Yeah.
I was more interested because I started seeing discussion about a certain female character that I think like to know your thoughts, Aaron, on the whole Luna Stella stuff that's been talked about.
Oh man. Well, this is just my opinion, and I think that I'm pretty accurate in saying it's an educated guess. But I think that they pretty much replaced Stella's character. She was a character that's been shown in the Versus 13 trailers since 2008, and a lot of things that were said in that little ending teaser, and I guess even the visual, kind of gave me this silent confirmation that yes, that character's been switched out for another one entirely. Just because a lot of the things that Stella was supposed to be doing are now in the hands of this other character. So either Tabata hasn't been entirely truthful when he said that they haven't changed the story, or there's something else going on. But I think if if the character has been removed completely, then he should probably finally say something about it, because he's kind of been dodging that question actually, and it's been really irritating me because from 2008 to 2013 they've had her in the marketing pretty prominently. So to remove that character without even saying anything is it's frankly upsetting because she's been there for so long, and I know it's kind of this irrational thing, but yeah, I definitely have feelings about it. So
Well, me and Aaron have had a few arguments about this already, but so Stella, yeah, she's been in a lot of promotional artwork for Final Fantasy Versus 13 and some of Final Fantasy 15 for many, many, many years. So for a lot of Final Fantasy Final Fantasy fans, she's kind of cemented her place in kind of like the headcanon of what people think Final Fantasy 15 is going to be about. So when they hear things about like, okay, Stella's been replaced by this woman named Luna, you know, a big part of what they've attached mentally to Final Fantasy 15 has kind of disappeared. So I don't know. I feel like I understand like the frustration when it comes to like, hey, they're getting rid of this character I love. But on the other hand, to me personally, she's a character that's appeared in promotional artwork, has very, very small blips of story that we've seen in ancient trailers that we don't know are relevant or not. So to me, like, if she's gone, well, that's just what it is. And I can live with her being gone because all she was to me was a character design. I do hope that the character that we do have, you know, provided that, Stella and Luna, aren't different characters and they're just trolling us. I'd like to see, Luna definitely be a major character in the story. I think she definitely is, but it's kind of remains to be seen what sort of role she has. One other thing that I wanted to point out in the artwork that's shown in the cutscene at the end of the demo, the artwork itself was done by Isamu Kamiko Kurio, which is one of the artists that worked on Final Fantasy XII and Final Fantasy XIII. So I don't know if he's done kind of like a promotional artwork for this, or he's actually helping work on some of the assets for the game, but I really like and respect him as an artist, so I hope that some of his stuff is represented.
Do you,
Mouthful.
yeah, no, it's good stuff. I guess, do either of you have any like kind of like final thoughts on 15
Well,
demo
I
or where
guess
it's going or?
as far as the demo goes, I mean, like I said earlier, I wish there was a little more to do in it. Like last night, I discovered that you can only have one save file, and that actually really bummed me out because I wanted to show people on my stream the beginning of the demo, and to do that, I would either have to resave over my current save, which is about 10 hours long currently, or log into a different account and then spend time setting up the Twitch stuff on there. And I didn't want to do that because it was already like 3 in the morning or something, something crazy like that. But I just, I don't know. I really wish there was a little more to do, considering that it's the only playable piece of the game that we're going to have for quite some time.
I guess final thoughts on the demo. I'm really impressed with what I saw. I know the demo is in a rough state right now, but it shows to me the kind of direction that Square Enix wants to go with some of the less linear story parts of the game. I think there's going to be. I have a suspicion that there's going to be more linear parts of the game that are connected through open world bits that you'll be able to explore as much as you want. But to me, like in the demo, as you see, playing in the footage here, like stalking the behemoth, what it added is a lot of variety, which is something I'm really glad to see in a Final Fantasy game. Again,
See, you say that, but you didn't have to do it more than once.
right? That's true. So
Oh man, I didn't, because if you if you have to leave that area, you have to redo that entire section, and I didn't know that the first time, and I had to redo it. I was like,
oh, yeah.
oh
Well,
my gosh.
that's a pain, and hopefully that's something that they can fine tune for the release, and they'll take feedback and parse that however they
Yeah,
will. But
I guess the other thing that we didn't even talk about was that dungeon. Oh man.
oh, the dungeon, yeah.
Oh, that dungeon.
Oh, the
That
dungeon of demons, the dungeon of goblins, right?
yes, yes. The first time I went in there, I just got smashed, and it was super frustrating. And even later on, when I was sufficiently leveled and I had the immunity buff and everything, I just felt like there was almost too many goblins. Like
Yeah,
there's one point where like 20 of them come out, and you're just like hacking away, and they keep coming, and I was like, I just want to move on.
I think another thing about that too is that obviously a cave full of just goblins isn't really that interesting. So I think that for the demo purposes, the amount of enemy variety is kept to a minimum because obviously that stuff takes a long time to fine tune, especially for a game like this. So
Yeah, I mean, I get that they only had like the one enemy for that section, but
yeah, I'm
it
sure there's going to be a lot more. Like we've even heard things about. Didn't Tabata say like the Catoblepus? I don't know how you spell that. And apologies for butchering whatever that monster's name is.
yeah, well, you can't even go out to them, so they're just
Right.
kind of
But they
background
kind of
decoration right
implied in
now.
the full version that that'd be something you'd be able to do. And that adamant twist that we've seen in previous trailers. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm glad that there's in this Final Fantasy game that there seems to be a lot of variety, even with kind of following like this behemoth scenario that the demo put you on. So that leaves me incredibly optimistic about the final game, providing a lot of different experiences. On the other hand, though, there's kind of another side to this coin where I'm seeing a lot of borrowing from other AAA games in the genre. To me, that's
Oh
fine to a
yes.
certain extent,
There's
where they're
definitely some
catching Final
Uncharted
Fantasy.
going on.
Yeah, there's Uncharted, maybe Tomb Raider if you want to say like another Square Enix game.
There's
But
there's like the open world like
right.
checkpoint stuff going on.
And there's kind of like the Assassin's Creed physics-based, maneuvering and stuff like that. And that to me is totally fine. If they want to get that game caught up to a AAA presentation, and I'm sorry, I hate saying AAA and sort of like putting the game in a box like that, but it's obvious like they want the game to kind of catch up in a way, like regarding some of the things that modern games have incorporated into their games. So I guess one thing that worries me is that I hope that the final game isn't like this amalgam of things that have been borrowed from other popular games, AAA or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, even with some of the health system stuff, like if you take cover, you regenerate your MP and stuff. I was like, oh well, that's cool, but all
See, to me,
these Western
all of that stuff is
influence.
fine, but I want that Final Fantasy flavoring to be able to soar over the top of that. And one thing that really impressed me and has made me confident about that is the summon that's featured. Uh, I guess we might as well spoil it. It's Ramu. It's a huge dude that comes out and just totally cooks your enemies with a judgment bolt.
Oh
It's
man,
really
the
amazing. And to me,
the cooked
to me,
behemoth.
yeah. And to me, that kind of visualization, that representation that I saw with Ramu, that summoning that we saw, that represents like a next level imagining of where we see Final Fantasy. And
Yeah,
I
I
want
was
to see more of that kind
actually
of stuff.
like, I hope they keep that kind of implementation in the final game because it really
Yeah.
calls back to like the older like Final Fantasy 7 and 8 where you called the summon out and it did its thing and then it went away.
Yeah. And it's the same thing here, but man, in a whole totally different light. And I was very, very impressed. So I
Yeah,
hope
if
that
you haven't
there's
seen
more.
it, it's probably like the most impressive part of the demo.
I think there were a few parts of it shown in the video clip we looped a few
Yeah.
times here and there. It didn't show all of it though, so
Unfortunately, it's been kind of leaked out and spoiled here and there. So I hope that if you haven't played the demo yet, that I didn't spoil you. But you should play the demo right now if you have Type Zero, because it's pretty.
Yes,
You should
play
also play Type Zero
play
HD.
Type 0 and play the 15 demo.
If you're one of those people that bought the game for the demo, you got a really great game on the side. So please make sure to check it out because it's awesome. I'm glad that we finally got it.
oh man, Type Zero. That was I played a little bit of the Japanese version on PSP. I played to the part in the mission where you have the golem enemy and you're not supposed to fight it. You can totally fight it if you want, but you're supposed to move
Yeah.
on. I tried fighting it in the Japanese version and of course I didn't have a full grasp on the mechanics and the battle system, so I got obliterated and I gave up there. And I was like, I'm going to wait for it to come out in English. And then 4 years later, it finally comes out. Kind of thought it'd come out
Right.
on Vita before then, but unfortunately it didn't. Yeah, so this was really my first time playing through it with understanding the story and actually playing through the whole game and being kind of clued into. You have to play through this game twice to get the full ending. I did. I got to review it, so the review's out there. I kind of already put out my gripes about the narrative and the fact it requires you to play through twice if you want to see the full story.
I loved your reaction when you found that out, by the way.
Yeah, I was getting pissed about that shit for a long time. I was like, what? Like, I thought I
Like,
was.
you were like, I don't understand, and I was like, well, you're gonna have to play through it twice because there's like extra scenes that show up that kind of fill in the gaps of characters that were doing stuff off screen, and now you can find out what happened. So
Like you and then like another one person who plays with the drama, like you both were telling me like the stuff I was gonna like you had to go do in the second part. And I was like, what? Who does this? Like, why? Why would you do this to me? This is like terrible.
Man,
And
gotta be
then
dedicated, man.
and oh man, no. And then Aaron, when he told me like the explanation of like, it's like the game doesn't. When I beat the game, it does not tell me play it again to get the rest of the story. And then when you gave me that explanation about you're kind of clued in about it with the two gods or goddesses or whatever, like it's an eternal like cycle or whatever, and like the second playthrough is representative of the cycle
Mm,
continuing. I was like, what is this fucking deep ass meta shit going on? I was like, of course it's Final Fantasy. I should totally have expected this. This is what they
I
always
actually
do.
thought that was kind of a unique way of going about it, to be honest.
Ah,
But I mean, before the PSP version came out, Square did actually talk a lot about how players needed to play it twice, but I feel like with the HD version, I don't really recall them mentioning that.
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember seeing anything that ahead of time of Type Zero letting me know or indicating I'd have to play through it a second time to get it. It was just everyone telling me that who had already experienced it saying you're gonna need to go through a second playthrough. Now on the second playthrough, you totally get prompted at certain points to make a choice, especially at the beginning of a mission. Would you want to do it the normal way? Like it doesn't say do it the normal way, do it a different way. It gives you two options, and if you paid attention the first time, you know what you did. To at the beginning of a mission, like you went to the big bridge for the big like campaign mission. You didn't go to this other place, blah, and stuff like that. So it does clearly indicate to you when you're going to be doing something different, and you get filled in on
right,
that
right.
optional
Or
stuff.
there's like scenes where a character will say, I feel like I know this from before, or something like
Yeah.
that.
So that they do put stuff in there. It's just I kind of would have liked when you finish the game the first time as an incentive to play through a game. It should have said like, "Hey, go ahead and if you want to fill in some more of the story, please play through a second time. Oh, additionally, here's the hardest difficulty also unlocked for you as well."
yeah. But I mean,
Uh,
it's nice because, going through it and playing through again, obviously, the game has some nice replayability. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to unlock. There's a lot of things in the story to figure out, and it's definitely
Yeah, I
worth
mean,
going
people
through a second
complain
time.
about games being too short, but
Not
I
Type
mean,
Zero.
no, not Type Zero.
I mean, yeah, and then for the second playthrough thing, you carry over all your like character
Yeah.
progress, so that's nice. It is the so-called new game plus, and back in the day, that used to be plenty of incentive to go through a game again, especially a JRPG that you took 40 to 50 plus hours to play through. Now you got to start at like high level. You were like, haha, I'm gonna blow through this game. Remember all these parts that took forever? I had to grind
Oh,
or
yes,
difficult.
Yeah.
I'm
yes.
gonna roll through this stuff, and that's what happened here. You fight some bosses early on that you one shot. You don't even have to wait for
Yeah.
the blind side or the death strike or whatever. It's like
And how
boom.
satisfying is that in a game like Type Zero where you can just get one shot and you can get owned like very quickly?
Yeah, and
Oh, yes, yes, you
yeah.
can.
I played this game more for the combat. I liked the battle system. I did like the idea of an active battle that was not quite. As I said in the review, it's not a character action game by any stretch of the imagination. It's more just an action RPG, and I like that they did put an emphasis on timing based input for the dodging, like dodging, observing your enemies, and striking when those
Actually,
reticules come
really
up.
like the dodging system in that game.
Hmm.
It actually kind of going a little bit back to the 15 demo, I was kind of like disappointed that the dodging in 15 was a little slower than what I had already gotten used to with Type Zero. So,
Yeah. It didn't feel as tactile, or like
yeah,
it
like
didn't have the same feedback.
I feel like in Type Zero you can kind of anticipate, you can react to things better. So, like if you need to dodge in a split second, you can do a lot easier.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when you upgrade the dodging, because that's one of the things you start off with. You just have like the single dodge before you have recovery. Then you can do like the slipstream, the perfect guard. I forget all the names, but you spend the points you earn from leveling up you upgrade your dodging, you could start spamming it all over the place, so you become like a dodging machine. But simply the like in character action games, a lot of the good ones they penalize you if you use dodge recklessly, like in a Bayonetta or a Revengeance. You dodge too much, you essentially get put into a stun animation, like a recovery animation, where you can't do something for a few seconds and enemies will like wreck you. In this game, they don't have something like that, but if you're a melee character and you're dodging away and you're spamming that, you're out of range to hit them when the opportune moment appears. When the reticule lets you know, oh, this is when you're supposed to attack. So they kind of worked a little bit of that in there, and I appreciate that. That it's not just spam dodge around like nonstop and then just push the attack button at any point where you see the yellow or red icon come
Yeah,
up.
the kill site.
Yeah. So yeah, kill site and blind site
Break
or
site, I think.
break site.
Break site.
Break site. Man, let's just call it like sites, whatever. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I just remember it was like kill death or break blind or something. Yellow and red. I got confused.
Yellow and red.
Well, because of freaking Star Ocean: The Last Hope, they had the same thing or whatever, like the dodge. They had like the color indicator, like little red or whatever meant.
The hindsight thing.
Yeah, the red one meant like you were gonna get attacked if you stopped there on the dodge attack, the sidestep thing. So you had to do it again or keep doing it until they were vulnerable. And then you had like the yellow one, I believe, which was the safe one, like you could attack. I don't know. That was a really good battle system, by the way. But yeah, I one thing I didn't get to really say in the review, and I don't know how accurate this is. This might be my warped revisionist history that sometimes pops up in my head. It feels like when I played the Third Birthday, I reviewed that for GT. I did not like it, but for some reason I remember these two games looking very similar, especially the
Yes,
way they
it's-
played.
Yeah.
And
It's very similar to the third birthday.
but this felt like I don't know which one came first, but I feel like this one had obviously had the better system, and this is where I could be the revisionist part. To me, this felt like an evolution of the Third Birthday, but I don't know if this one came out first. So I could be
I
totally
mean-
wrong.
The
can
third
definitely
birthday
see
came out
with-
first, I believe.
Okay, because it
Yeah.
felt like they saw that and then built upon the complaints people had with it to make a more action game or a better action RPG.
I think with Tabata and the games that he's directed, I mean, his library has come to include Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, the Third Birthday, Final Fantasy Type 0 on PSP, then this HD system, this HD remaster. The battle systems that he's overseen have kind of evolved off of one another. So I think going into the future, I mean, I honestly don't know how much of this DNA is going to end up coming into Final Fantasy 15, but I think that, you know, we're on the cusp of, you know, I think talking about some sort of sequel for Final Fantasy Type 0, that I think that he's going to seek to, you know, evolve that battle system from there, because it's definitely something that he's kept relatively the same, and it's going to be interesting to watch.
Which kind of extends to the cameras in his games too, actually.
Yeah. And that's actually been kind of an issue because, I mean, I really liked Crisis Core, and I know that there are some people that are gonna get mad at me for this, but I didn't dislike the Third Birthday. The story obviously was terrible, but the Third Birthday itself I thought was enjoyable to some degree. So
You want to know what his best game is?
what's that?
It's
Oh, a game
Before
we didn't get?
Crisis.
Oh man,
Before Crisis, the game we never got, even though we were supposed to.
Oh man.
what can they do with that now? Like, I mean, they could do something
Oh
with that.
man, they
couldn't
could. You know what? They could remake it.
They could, yeah. I mean, they made that G-Byte game with Crisis Core like assets, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And I guess that's, I don't know, we haven't heard anything about that since it came out in Japan.
Yeah, it was supposed to come to the U.S. as well, but they, along with Agito, for mobile, but they haven't said anything since E3, so who knows?
Yeah.
Oh man. Type 0, someone asks, like, is Type 0 worth it without the demo? Like, yeah, you should.
Yes.
Yeah,
they should
the only
definitely
thing,
put
like,
that
the biggest thing you just gotta get over, and this did bug me, and, like, I did not give Square Enix a pass for this. Like, if you want to know where my score came from, I penalized it for the narrative structure, and I penalized it for the paltry HD effort. Um, this
it's
they should not have
it's
called it Type Zero
definitely
HD. They should have probably just called it Type Zero normal and put it on a console, and it would have gone over a little better, I think,
I don't know.
because
I think if they had done that, people would probably question, "Hey, why is there no HD on this?"
or
Pro
why
yeah,
isn't this like the quality of a like a PS4 Final Fantasy or
but
whatever?
it isn't. It's like I don't know. This felt like it could have it would have been okay on PS3 if this was like Type Zero HD on PS3. This
PS3 and Vita, yeah.
might have gone over a little bit better. But sticking it on PS4, it was clear that this had no business being on PS4 other than to get more people to buy a PS4 in preparation for future Final
Yeah.
Fantasy games from Square Enix, most notably 15.
Including Final Fantasy 7, Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
10-2
10, 10-2.
HD.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
because fans have been waiting 17 long years.
Oh man,
It's
that's
finally coming to PS4. We can say
It's
that.
finally coming.
7 HD is never happening because you know why? This is a good segue. Because after apparently 15 is done, they're going to be working on something called Final Fantasy Type Next. And there's some artwork that came out that you two alerted me about because I had
Yeah.
no idea about this. So I'm going to pop up the art images real quick for everyone to see on the stream. The one I got right now is the one like it looks like in a Japanese city. Like there's like a person on a horse with a blade, and a woman with a sword, and a woman or a person with a bow, a long bow, and they are fighting. Look like they're about to fight in the street. It's a pretty cool piece of art. And then the second one is this dude with this mechanical wing thing behind him with like engines and a giant katana. It's really nice looking. And then the giant shot of like this weird version of a feudal Japan town with some weird structure in the background. So there's more than that. But I think this also plays hand in hand with the Rise from the Ashes CG video that you get when you beat Type Zero the first time, which shows not gonna spoil it. It shows a character who is in Type Zero. I've been avoiding this all like the last 2 weeks because everyone in our Mumble chat was like getting really, really like touchy about spoilers and stuff, and I had to like lie for a week about this like the Rise from the Ashes, aka Type One teaser trailer. I had to lie to people, say, "Oh, there's nothing in there that's related to Type Zero." Yes, there's the character in that video clearly looks like one of the main characters in Type Zero, just in a samurai outfit in a totally different time period.
But
So
is it the same
Is it him
character
though?
though? I
I
mean,
don't know. It looks like Ace. A little
I
bit. It looks
mean,
like him, but I can't say definitively because there's nothing going on there. And then at the end, it says, "We have arrived." It's like, okay. He says that at the beginning of the game. So, what's going on here? And the game
well,
is
so
about time repeating and shit like that. So, who knows? Alternate universe.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think it
really
might
interesting
might
where they could
be
take it.
a placeholder is is what I thought of when I first saw it. Because the idea behind like a theoretical type series, from what was said back when Type Zero was renamed from Agito 13, was they kind of wanted to have each entry, like Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, be their own kind of contained thing. So they wouldn't really be sequels, they would just be kind of like the current Final Fantasy numbered series is. So each game would be different, and
Mhm.
the the stuff that we're seeing now was actually teased in 2012 at the Final Fantasy 25th anniversary event in Japan, where Tabata had like this talk show thing, and he showed off some concept art that looked very similar to what we're seeing. So the moment I saw that CG that with the samurai-ish looking character, I was like, yeah, this was definitely what he was working on. And I
In
believe
addition
since
to
all
that,
this,
too,
yeah,
there was actually a recent talk with Yusuke Naura, who is the art director on Final Fantasy Type Zero, and he's been on 7, 8, and 10. Really prolific guy that's been responsible for like how each of these major Final Fantasies has looked. he's working on this game, I think, and you can see his signature on one of the art pieces here. But during his talk at Southern Methodist University a couple weeks ago, he brought up a certain project that he was working on, and he said it's got like a Japanese feel to it, and so he was doing a live sketch on stage, and he used like a kabuto, which I believe is like a samurai helm, to show to the audience how he creates concept artwork. So I think that was another little tell that you could figure that they were working on some sort of new project that could be tied into the type universe. But I think that's actually a really cool thing that type one potentially would be a completely different, perhaps not completely, but a different take like on the same kind of uh, world that we see in Type Zero. I think that would be a really cool way to progress. From having this, the main series has also been about experimenting with different things, but I think that it's also cool that that's the direction they want to take the Type series. That'd be
Yeah, I think
a-okay with me.
the type series they want to do stuff that they can't really do in the mainline series. Like with Type Zero, it was modeled after like serious war documentaries, and this next one looks like they want to model it after like feudal Japan. So that sort of stuff you really don't see in the mainline because there's, I guess you could say, certain tropes that people expect in the mainline series. So if they're able to actually continue this kind of sub-series, I think that would be really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the spin-offs have been able to get away with more as far as like combat and gameplay systems too. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I love the setting and how it looks too. I think we haven't really had a really strong Japanese themed setting since Final Fantasy X's Okinawan influence. So I think it'd be kind of a cool setting to kind of revisit and experiment with.
Yeah, I would like to see a game take place in that type of setting as well. Um, but it seems like, as I said, it will start after 15 concludes development, so definitely not coming anytime soon, it seems. So,
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's not even like a game announcement or anything. It's just Tabata putting the progress that they had already done out there for people to see. So
Welcome to Final Fantasy hype, everyone. Years and years away.
I think it's kind of a tactic to sort of see if there's any interest out there for such a thing. So
I'm
gotcha.
interested.
Yeah. Oh man, I just wanted to say because I saw some people whining in chat about it not being Ace or whatever, like because there's like multiple endings and stuff. Like Ace no matter what playthrough you do, Ace has that moment after they come back from the final battle where he has a vision. You can call it a dream if you want. I thought it was like him seeing a glimpse into another reality where everything was fine, and while in a certain ending everything is not fine at the end, there is another ending where the crystals don't exist anymore and everyone got to live out their lives as if that didn't happen. So that makes me believe there are many alternate realities, and one of them could be at some point the feudal Japan reality or something like that. Like just that's just how the world ended up, and another incarnation of Ace is there. It doesn't have to be. I'm not like really. I'm not attached to the character that I would be upset if it's not Ace. That's why, in my mind, I just kind of attached it as him, because of the game giving me those clues that there are multiple realities and that maybe Type Next is going to be in another reality. It will not continue on from the Type Zero's reality and we'll go to a different reality, but maybe we'll see the characters again in different roles and stuff like that. I kind of like that. Like what Majora's Mask did with like Ocarina of Time. You got to see this twisted world where everyone was doing something different. I like that type of stuff where you take something and put it, put it on its head and be like, everything's different now. Everything you came to expect, like get rid of those expectations, especially with like character tropes and character personalities. I like seeing that type of stuff done, that kind of weird thing. So that's kind of like my early hope that they do for it, but who knows?
Chat saying that
New 15
the
footage. What? What is this troll? Visual work
There's
stream.
actually a presentation with Cosmic
I don't think
Gamora.
it's new. I actually saw it. It looked like the stuff from the 2013 trailer.
Oh, okay.
By the way,
Well,
for those of you who don't know him, he is the one of the people that is in charge of the movies, the FMV, the CGI that appears in many Final Fantasy and Square Enix games. So definitely check out that when it's finished. When we're finished, don't go there right now because obviously having a fun time having a chat, aren't we?
uh, I and I don't really know what else to say on Type Zero and like Type Next. I feel like I've talked so much about Type Zero and 15 this week. I don't know if either of you had any any like thoughts on Type Zero that you'd like to share, or if we're ready to move
I
on.
think the main thing with Type Zero is I've seen a lot of people who've started playing, and I guess it didn't maybe click for them right away. But I think Type Zero is one of those games that it starts off a little slow, but once you get further into it, kind of picks up. So my advice there would be to keep playing and don't let the beginning of the game kind of sour your opinion of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, don't brush off Final Fantasy Type Zero because it comes with the demo of the next numbered Final Fantasy. It's definitely worth your time. It's not perfect. I mean, it's got some problems, but I think that
Yeah, I mean the remaster itself is visually inconsistent, and that can, like, especially
yeah,
with the camera, I think that might bother some people, but I don't know, I got used to it after a while, so
yeah, it takes a little bit of time to grow on you, but I think that you know it's definitely something that's worth experiencing. So don't dismiss it too hastily.
Nice. All right. Just want to mention real quick. I did bring up the other stream. It's just called Cinematic Legacy of Square Enix. So it does sound like they're just gonna be showing off old stuff for their presentation. I don't know if they're gonna be showing off any new things. But Type Zero and 15 demo weren't the only like Final Fantasy news this week. This is why we call
Yep.
this episode Final Fantasy Week, because holy crap, there was a lot of Final Fantasy information. There was a Japanese only kind of press conference slash presentation slash stream that happened recently for Final Fantasy 11. Everyone remember that game?
Yep.
And at first, like the
oh
production
yes.
value and like the set they had made it seem like, oh, this is gonna be cool. They can show off a lot of cool things. Not so much. So, uh,
Yeah, they rented
yeah.
out. They had like a pretty fancy like press venue for it, and they had the producer Matsui. He was there, and he was dressed up for once. So people thought that you know there might have been something a little bit more than what actually happened.
Well, I mean, I guess to be fair, I mean, a lot of important stuff did happen. I mean, I guess I don't know if you wanted to go through what they announced, Mike.
Oh, I think the first announcement, the biggest announcement. Well, no, I wouldn't say the biggest announcement. The first announcement, most relevant probably to people who actually play Final Fantasy 11, is that the expansion comes out. Next expansion comes out in May of this year, which we all kind of think. A few of us, I heard afterwards in the OT thread, or someone mentioned somewhere that, wasn't that when Heaven's Ward was supposed to come out?
Was
Yeah, it was. But no, the expansion's coming out in May. But the last major update of any kind, period, I guess a patch update, will be in November of this year. And then next year in March, PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360 Final Fantasy 11 service will be discontinued. They didn't mention anything, as far as I recall, anything about PC service, and they didn't mention anything about the game changing pricing model. Right?
yeah.
I don't remember. Everyone was assuming
As far
No,
as we
they
know, they're
didn't.
going to
everyone
continue
was
the
assuming
PC
the
version,
dreaded
but
free to play announcement, but that didn't
right.
happen. But they're shutting down the two console services and just focusing on PC. But I think it's kind of telling that this is the last year any kind of updates are happening to the game.
Yeah.
Was the first and probably the biggest announcement related
Right.
to 11.
Well,
So
man, though, I mean, 13 years of a subscription premium service should not be should not be understated in any way. And I think that's what a lot of people really learn to appreciate about the game is that it didn't cave into the free to play trend when it was convenient, I guess. And you know, a lot of Final Fantasy XI fans stick by that premium, that subscription experience. Now, in after November, when the game stops getting uh, updates, there'll be small updates that maybe provide balance to the game, but after that, it's pretty much it. I could see them. There's really no reason to have a subscription, because there's really nothing that's going to be happening for the game. But it serves to say that 13 years of that subscription service definitely. And this can be brought into the discussion about Final Fantasy 14 as well. Like people see value in that subscription, that premium content, the premium service. And so I think Square is confident in that. And I think to make it that long, 13 years, and deliver all that content, that's very commendable. And man, am I gonna miss that game when it's really gone? Like a lot of years under my belt for that one.
Yeah, I mean, I never I played it for a short amount of time, but the fact that it's been around for 14 years and it's continued to get expansions and updates, up until even now with this last round of updates is pretty impressive because over the years we've seen so many other MMOs kind of fall by the wayside. So
Yeah, I got into Final Fantasy 11 when it first came out on PC in North America. I got it. I went to a GameStop. I picked it up when I was in college and got it. Went home, played it. Everyone else I knew, my roommates, my other college buddies, were either all playing Dark Age of Camelot or still playing freaking EverQuest. And then a lot of them had were transitioning over, eventually would go to WoW. And I remember as I was playing 11, they were all bugging me to join them in either one of those. They're like, "Come play Dark Age of Camelot with us," or "Come play WoW with us." And I was like, "No, man. I like Final Fantasy, and like there's this online game that I can play with other people now." It was like the first MMO I had experienced firsthand, and it was fascinating to me. I didn't get too far. I played it. I want to say I played it on and off for about 2 years, and I think I only got into the 40s in my leveling.
Mhm.
But I was more into going around and exploring zones and hanging out with people and the social aspect of it.
Right.
So and I just love the music and I love as I said, I loved the environments and going around and just like seeing this vast, huge world. And I would have kept playing it if uh, at the time my then girlfriend got upset that I was getting into an MMO, and she was like, she's like, I think you really need to she's like, I think you really need to stop playing this because I don't want you to become addicted to an MMO and you become one of those types of people. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I tried playing it for maybe like an hour every so often, and anytime she would catch me on it, she would get like really annoyed with me, and I was like, all right, I will stop playing Final Fantasy 11. And then a few years ago, a bunch of us at GT, for the hell of it, wanted to go play it. We're like, yeah, we're gonna start up. We're gonna go play it again and shit. Like, in preparation for like 14 coming out and stuff. And only like two of us upped our subbed our accounts, and we played for like 2 days and we stopped. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my experience. That I now that I know it's winding down supposedly, and there's a chance it won't, like, the years in front of it are not very many, if any years. So time is running out theoretically. I would like to jump in and actually start from the beginning and play through it, and based on what I remembered from before, see how it's changed, because it has changed a lot. Like, I could tell from
Yeah.
all the updated trailers and stuff how vastly different it was from the very beginning, because it was brutal in the beginning. Like, a lot of stuff, like,
Yeah.
that's how
Hmm.
MMOs were back then, but there was something about that type of style where you weren't explained, everything wasn't explained to you. You kind of had to network and socialize with people
Right.
and try shit out on your own, that I liked. But 11 was such a punishing game for the grind that if you didn't know what you were doing, you were like, it was futile. You were like wasting your time if you didn't know what you were doing in that game.
Right.
yeah, you definitely couldn't play it by yourself either. So
Oh yeah, the whole even just leveling up, even from day one, it was like you got to find a party. Like if you don't have a party, you're screwed. You can't go anywhere in that game,
Hmm.
and that's quite a stark contrast to 14, where unless you want to do raiding, you really don't need other people to help you with anything. The
Yeah,
dungeons,
there's a
you
lot of matchmaking, and
yeah,
not that
exactly.
that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, there's a lot to be said about how MMORPGs have been after WoW was such a transformative thing. But 11, as dated and as archaic as it can be sometimes, I mean, there's a lot to be said and commended about how you could feel part of a community and be able to accomplish something meaningful, you know, with a group.
Yeah.
Not that that can't be done in 14, but it's just, in a different way now. People have come to expect different things out of MMORPGs. Some people want more games like 11 these days, but, I think that we've kind of moved on for the most part.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like that. But that wasn't all they really announced, though. I think they kind
Yes, there
of
were other things.
there were some other things that were announced. A lot of some people were like, "All right, you know what? They didn't announce it's canceled." So they had this whole Project Vanadil thing, which I think more ignorant people were probably assuming, "Oh, new project, giant new project." And I was like, "No." There were even like people saying it's coming to PS4. They're gonna re-release 11 in HD, which is a joke.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Just like WoW's coming out in
To be
HD.
honest, now that we know that the game is kind of, I guess, quote unquote ending, um, I kind of really want them to release something so that players who missed out on the story stuff can experience that without having to actually go online, I guess.
Yeah, like I wonder what they're
They
gonna
do have
do.
some sort of option for people who want something similar to that, but it's not what you're thinking.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Let's I'm gonna play the video of one of the things they announced. The second announcement. So Square Enix logo and everyone's like, all right, here it comes. Final Fantasy 11 on PS4. Final Fantasy 11 re-release. So there we go. There's the crystal. Nope. It's Vanadil. Okay, cool. But no, what did we get? We got Final Fantasy Grand Masters. As soon as you saw that vertical orientation, you were like,
As soon as I saw
nope.
that like
Hmm.
super deformed character design and like, I don't know, like PSP level graphics.
Oh man, this
It was like, oh, it's mobile.
mobile phone, the future of Final Fantasy 11.
Well,
Um,
and they actually prefaced it with giant text that said smartphone on it, and I was like, well, there we go.
yep, there you have it, Final Fantasy Grand Masters, and but that wasn't it. So we're like, okay, cool. Then they brought out something about a companion app with Final Fantasy 11.
Well, it's not just a companion app. It's basically
You
a
bring
The
native
client.
a native
yeah.
client for mobile, developed by Nexon, who are going to be retooling some of the stuff in the game to make it easier to play on a touchscreen.
Oh man, I just saw the images of like the in-game 11 characters and then these chibi characters like side by side. And I was like, oh, what are they doing here? And then
Oh
the whole
man, like
the Nexon logo appeared. I was like, ha ha ha, here we go. Oh
nothing
man.
about grandmasters from a visual perspective looks repulsive, but there's got to be a lot. There's a lot to be said about a 13, 14 year game that ran on a premium experience and is now getting like a freemium kind of treatment on a mobile phone. And I'm all for Final Fantasy 11 and any Final Fantasy game coming to different platforms, but I feel like what comes with the mobile phone freemium aspect is well, you run out of energy, you have to pay to keep continuing on, and I feel like that kind of experience is just not what Final Fantasy 11 fans, especially the ones that continue to play today, really want. I mean, I guess there could be some excuse for how Japanese players view the mobile market. And I mean, this game is only announced for Japan, so we're not going to be seeing this in North America or Europe at this time. Maybe if it's popular, it'll come over, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna
I
be
just,
super Japan only kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm kind of the mind leave it there. If the freemium experience infringes on what I came to respect out of Final Fantasy XI. Another big problem that I'm worried about though is that the Final Fantasy XI client that's being managed by Nexon, that's coming to a worldwide audience, and I think Nexon hasn't really had the best track record when it comes to free to play experiences. Like they go on full on cash shop stuff. And really, is that something that we want to associate with 11, where you can pay to get ahead? And I don't know. I respect the mobile platform, but I
No.
think that a lot of the efforts that Square Enix has been putting out on that platform thus far have been kind of cynical. And so I just can't be excited for it. I know it may not be coming over here, but the Grandmasters thing and then the 11 client with Nexon, I really can't be excited about it at all.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I was kind of not so happy I stayed up to watch that press conference.
yeah, to me, like the press conference, I wanted it a bit. I mean, I kind of had a feeling this was going to be kind of like the send off. So I was kind of hoping that it was a little bit more respectful. I feel like they kind of glossed over the Rhapsodies of Vana'diel, which is the expansion that is coming in a form of free updates to the game. So if you sub, you'll be getting these patches free over the course of several months this year. So they kind of glossed over that and then got right into the mobile announcement and then the partnership with Nexon. And to me, it felt like, you could have sent off the game in kind of a better fashion. So right now, I mean, that's going to fall to the actual in-game events, which sound really interesting. They're going to bring back a bunch of characters that you saw in all of the expansions and all of the scenario content, and that sounds really cool. And I'm going to resub and check that out for sure because I mean, I think anyone who has put some time into 11 should, kind of resub, check it out, send it off into the wild blue yonder, wherever it's going, before it's done. So I think that'll be kind of a cool experience, not only for the content that they're developing, but I think from a social perspective, it'd be nice to get on and see people you haven't played with in years, and be kind of nice to commiserate and send off the game, share memories and whatnot. So that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to. But the mobile stuff, I mean, whatever. I hate to sound so cynical towards it, but I mean, a lot of Square stuff has been just that, and I wish I could say differently.
Yeah, I don't really care too much about their mobile efforts as well. I've been kind of pleased that a lot of it's been so far restricted to Japan only, and it seems like Grandmasters is. Uh, that being said, like I mean, there's still a few that I would care about, like Theater Rhythm. I actually have the original one on my iPhone. I did play through that rather than getting the 3DS version, although
Right.
3DS version is probably your best bet because you get all the stuff included. You don't have to pay
That's
per song.
actually kind of an interesting game to bring up because when they announced the sequel, I kind of thought it was going to be on mobile, but then they decided to go back to 3DS and they haven't really announced anything as far as like bringing it back to mobile. So I'm kind of curious about what went on with that.
Well, yeah, it's also interesting because now they're coming out with Theater Rhythm Dragon Quest, which is now exclusively on 3DS. So I wonder what kind of, I don't know, maybe there wasn't as good as a reception on mobile to that game. It seems like it's, a game
Yeah,
that's
I
perfect for
mean,
mobile too.
if I remember right, the way it was set up was the application is free, but you only get like a few songs and then you have to buy the rest. So maybe
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah,
threw people off a bit.
you get like four in the in Theater Rhythm for iOS. You get I think 4 songs included, and then you can either buy bundles based on games or you could buy individual songs. And I think they were all like 99 cents each or
Yeah,
some yeah.
dollar six with tax,
And
depending
then
where
like
you
the
are, I guess.
bundles were like a few bucks or something like that. And when you added it all up, though, the total cost compared to the 3DS, getting those in the 3DS game, it was like not even close. Like you were the 34.99 you were spending on the 3DS game, I guess, was like way cheaper than buying the 100 plus worth of dollars of songs in the iOS version. So I think
I mean,
maybe that
yeah,
was
like a
had something to
curtain
do with it.
call though. Like the last DLC package is part of the second performance, quote unquote, just released yesterday. So that game released in what I think it was September of last year, and they just released their last set of DLC. So they've been supporting the heck out of the 3DS version with DLC. And another curious note is that the Dragon Quest one, correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but I believe a lot of the DLC, if not all of it, is free.
Yeah, that's actually correct. And when I saw that, I was really surprised because, they actually put out a decent amount of DLC in the Final Fantasy version, so I figured, why not? Why wouldn't they want to capitalize on Dragon Quest fans too?
Well, I mean, free music is free music. Free stuff is free stuff. So, I mean, happy
Yeah,
that
I mean,
that
I'm
game
not
gets it.
complaining. I'm just surprised that they would do that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I guess maybe there was some creative decision that came from maybe Hori-san or someone else that said, "Hey, we're not going to charge for that." I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, but yeah, I, aside from Theater Rhythm, like I got a free Final Fantasy one that came with something. I got to pick like one free Square Enix mobile game, and I picked Final Fantasy one. And like I hate playing that on my iPhone, and that's like a very simple like 2D
It's
Final
yeah.
Fantasy. So imagine playing anything more complicated than that. And that's always been my problem with mobile games is that you can't just simply throw on existing console or even handheld games onto mobile and just put a virtual D-pad or something on there because that touchscreen interface when you are normally used to having an analog stick or D-pad is like trash to me. Like it doesn't work. I think I played like a Mega Man game on smartphones, and it was like one of the worst experiences. I had to play through Sonic 2 for an episode of Pop Fiction because that was the only way to get to the hidden palace zone because they re-added it. And playing that was like one of the most frustrating experiences in my life. I don't know how I didn't get kicked out of the office for how much I was screaming at the phone. And like everyone gets, I've seen everyone be mad at games before, but like at the work, I usually don't do that. I keep it very much in check. But this, I just like I just let loose. I was like screaming everything under the sun at this stupid piece of shit game, and I was like, "Who the fuck thought touchscreen controls for a Sonic the Hedgehog game was good?" How I was, yeah, bad memories, not very good stuff. And I just said like, "Screw this, I'm out of here." And then somehow I ended up getting to the part. I beat it. I was like, "Never the fuck again, never again. This is terrible." It was really bad. And sorry, I was
Yeah.
distracted for a sec because the cinematic stream, they're showing the controversial Hitman video, the nuns, whatever.
Oh
Oh,
dear.
I
geez.
can't
Yeah.
believe they opted to do that. Sorry, this is like, whoa, okay. But yeah,
Okay.
I got so pissed off. So I don't understand people who enjoy that type. I would like to meet people who enjoy playing a Mega Man or a Mario or Sonic the Hedgehog on iPhone with the touchpad controls because screw that, it sucks.
Well, I mean, right
Yeah.
now it's kind of an unfortunate situation Square's in with Final Fantasy on phones. I mean, right now their legacy is phone ports that are decent or just not good. I mean, I'm sure everyone has flashbacks to the Final Fantasy VI version that they put on phones, which was just not ideal to be nice. But to me, like the ports aren't the bad part of Square Enix is what they can call legacy on phones now. Is that I games like All the Bravest were just I mean, well, it doesn't need to be said. It's just a very cynical attempt to, you know, extract cash from people who will buy Final Fantasy because they see the name on the title. And I want Square Enix to continue to support mobile, but I think what they need to do is reevaluate. And right now, people don't see the same value in the Final Fantasy games on mobile as they would in other experiences. So I think what they need to do is they need to provide not a console experience on a mobile, but a mobile experience that gives people the same respect as they would be enjoying a Final Fantasy game on a console. I mean, there's just been problems with trying to bring, as we have all highlighted just now, like there's problem with console experiences on uh, mobile, even portable experiences on mobile, just because of the platform that it is. So I think that what they need to do is stop, the freemium model that they've been using in a lot of their games. I mean, you can actually take a look at a good example of a freemium model with Terra Battle, which is done by Mistwalker, specifically Hironobu Sakaguchi's project. That's a respectable example of what you can do in a freemium space that respects fans and respects the amount of time that they put into the game and isn't trying to funnel their attention towards microtransactions at every juncture. So I think that, hey, go ahead, take a page out of Sakaguchi's book, but I think overall, like, regarding Final Fantasy, they need to if they want to continue supporting mobile and if they want to get fans on board with this, they need to respect them uh, with the models that they're bringing to this.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that as well. I kind of feel like Terror Battle's like it was a great example. Like everyone I knew who touched that game like really enjoyed it and really appreciated what they tried to do with it, and not try and it felt like an experience that was appropriate for a mobile platform, and it was also like quality experience that wasn't trying to shove microtransactions down your throat and stuff like that. So that I'm totally open to that type of stuff on mobile platforms. I just as I said, reiterating, I just don't want them to cram old experiences onto mobile devices and do nothing to retool them, or B, shove microtransactions down your throat. I think that one of the most egregious examples that I can remember in recent memory was when they redid the Crazy Taxi. They made a new one. Like they had the guy who made
Yeah.
Crazy Taxi at a press event last year for E3, and they're like, "Hey, here's a new Crazy Taxis coming out." We're like, "What? No way!" And it's like it's for mobile phones. Oh, but no, no, no. Like we totally made it from the ground up. Like okay, it could be good. It's not that complicated game. Oh, there's a point when you run out of gas, you can pay for more. I was like, stop, stop,
Terrible.
stop. We're done. We're done. I'm out of here. Fuck the future.
Yeah.
I was like, help me.
Mhm.
Oh, it was so bad. So yeah, that type of shit like doesn't fly with me. I can't stand that. Um, I don't know. Are we feeling anything about? Was there anything else about 11? It was just those three things, right? I didn't miss.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, I guess I want to. I don't speculation time. If you were to guess, like two things. One, how long do you think 11 has before they would possibly shut down all services, or do you even think they'll do that, or do you think maybe they'll let it run for as long as possible and never shut it down? And two, do you ever think there'll be a point that they will cave in and just make it free to play at a point, like where it doesn't matter anymore?
Um, well, I think they'll leave the PC version up for as long as they still get a decent amount of subscribers, and without really knowing what their expectations are, or how many people actually still pay for the game, it's hard to say, but I think it'll go at least until 2017 or beyond.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll try to keep the PC version going as long as they can. With regard to like the change in model, after November when their last update goes out, um, there's going to be no updates to the games. I'd like them to do something different with the model, maybe doing something like a discount, or what a lot of fans have been floating ever since the press conference is, hey, if you have a sub to Final Fantasy 14, you should be able to log into Final Fantasy 11 and play that, because you keep subbing, and that you know you could just have access to that as well, which I think that's pretty cool. However, I think there'd be a problem with going completely free to play, in that I think in order to get I just don't think that they have the player base to really. I mean, it's hard to say how many people would come back to Final Fantasy 11 if it was free to play. That's a question I don't know the answer to. I guess the only thing that would really bother me about it is that in order to keep making money on it, there are things that they would have to do in that free to play model to push people towards making some sort of microtransaction. It could be something as innocent as a cash shop, like in 14, where they just do vanity items like pets. There's nothing that's pay to win. They could do something like that, but you know, I don't know if the audience is there to really take advantage of a free to play model, or if they would continue a sub maybe at a discounted rate, or just say, hey, sub to 14, and you can log into both games for free.
That would be actually an interesting thing for them to do. They bundle the subscription services to give you a discount to both. I could see them doing something like that. I don't know. I saw someone earlier in chat saying that the bunch of private servers are going to come online later this spring.
Oh yeah,
because fans want to start preserving everything as much as possible.
yeah.
And getting
I'm sure there's going to be lots of private servers that are going to keep the game alive for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even right now there are private servers that only run versions of World of Warcraft that are from before the first expansion in quote unquote vanilla World of Warcraft. So I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that obviously that's not something that's officially sanctioned by Square Enix, but fans will keep it alive in many different ways.
Yeah. Speaking of, when you said the bundle, there was one last bit of something Final Fantasy that happened this week. Heaven's
Yes,
Ward
Heaven's
pre-order.
Heaven's Word.
The savage pre-order of Heaven's Ward. Square
That
Enix Online shop problems.
yes.
Yeah, we were lucky though in North America, because well, I guess I'll start with my story. Right as the pre-orders went up for Heaven's Word, my power went out, like the minute of. So I think for about 40 minutes, I was sitting in the dark, fiddling on my phone, trying to pre-order through the Square Enix store, which was an awful experience. Well, and that's because my phone is old, but not necessarily Square's fault. But there was a lot of traffic with the store, and at about 2 hours after it opened, people were able to start pre-ordering with less congestion.
Yeah, I mean, I was a lot luckier than you. I only had to wait about 30 minutes, but like what happened was the page didn't want to load, or it would load like I got the item in my cart, and then when I went to check out, it would only like let me see the first step of their like 4 or 5 step process, and it wouldn't let me click continue. Like the button was there, but it wouldn't work. So I kept having to like hit back and then go forward and hit back, and it finally, after 30 minutes, decided to work for me.
That was my experience as well. It wouldn't load anything in the cart. It wouldn't go past a certain point. But as much as we were ragging on smartphones and stuff, it was actually me going. Someone in OT said they used their iPhone to complete the order, and I was like, "Oh shit, that might give me. I might have more success with that." And it only took 3 refreshes at one point, and I got through and was able to get my pre-order like really quickly using that. And it still never worked on my browser on my computer. And
Yeah, I mean, it was at least we didn't have to deal with like what the European fans had to deal with like no store access for a couple days or whatever it was. But I mean, if people still want to pre-order, luckily they didn't sell out. So I guess people hammering away at their website on that first day was kind of meaningless.
Yeah,
So,
like they made that seem like it was going to be very limited quantities. I mean, going back to real quick to Type Zero, like they, as you said earlier, Aaron, they had like pre-orders for this collector's edition. Even now, you could still get, and they were sending email updates like pretty frequently saying, "Hey, supplies are running out. You might want to do it now. Please like pre-order so we sell out of it." But I think comparing Type Zero to like Final Fantasy 14, like it's not apples and oranges. Like there are way more people I think that were gonna try and rush to get the physical collector's edition of 14. So I think there was a genuine concern that it would sell out, and the shop crashing like that. I think everyone's like, "Oh shit, it's getting hammered. No one's gonna be able to get one." And then there was that like post on the official forums where someone was claiming it was now sold out, that you couldn't get it anymore, and people started going into panic mode. So I don't know, but yeah, they apparently are still available. So that was all that for nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But at least it's done, and now we can wait until June.
But poor Europeans, I can't believe that happened to them. Like that's gotta suck. Like waking up to do that, and then like, oh sorry, come back later. They also got screwed on the 15 demo too, right? They had to wait a few extra days for
Yeah,
that.
they had to wait until their actual release date for the most part. So we were pretty lucky in that we were able to access it on Monday morning.
Hey Grim, are you having mic trouble or no?
can you guys hear me?
Hear you now. I think that's what was going on. It sounded
Yeah.
like you were about to start talking and then it would cut out. So yeah, I thought maybe you were just waiting for us to
Right.
say
Is it
something.
better now?
Yeah, I can totally hear
Yeah.
you now.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
What,
fine
what,
now.
what were you
Sorry
gonna
about
say?
that,
Because
guys.
I now I get it. You were trying
Yeah,
to say
because
stuff.
well, I was cutting myself off with my mute button every time I was talking, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's NA and EU. It's live and ready to go whenever you want to pre-order it. But I think a big problem that people were having with the EU side, and this is kind of an interesting topic. There was some frustration about the fact that the game is also being the game is being the collector's edition is being sold for $130 USD, but it's also being sold for £130 British pounds and 130 euros, which anyone who knows anything about currencies knows that that's not exactly even.
Oh
So
no.
I think there's a situation where, and this isn't just limited to Square Enix and Final Fantasy 14 Heaven's Word, but they're running into a problem where, hey, this is significantly more expensive in this currency than it is in other currencies. So what's the deal? Why do we have to pay more? And I don't know. It's not something that Square Enix has really addressed, but it's worth. I think it's worth being angry about because, you know, it's really not fair to people who have to pay significantly more. I think in one instance it's almost like $40 or $50 more.
I know. Yeah, I was kind of concerned about what the pricing was gonna be when they announced like they announced the Japanese pricing first, correct? Right? I
Correct.
believe. Yeah. So I was trying to like guess what it was gonna be, and then I don't know. I don't think it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like some people were like guessing it was gonna be like maybe $200. I was like, oh please don't be that for the
Yeah.
physical one.
Yeah, I because at the Fan Fest, Yoshi P was
Oh
saying that it would
yeah.
be pretty expensive, and so
Mm-hmm.
the first thought that came to my mind was, well, it's definitely gonna be over $100, and it's probably gonna be closer to the $200 range, but luckily that's not the case.
Yeah. I do like all the references to the physical statue though in the physical collector's edition, the expertly crafted, and then like they did the blog post where they showed like the close-up images, like let's break it free from its plastic prison. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And then like a Blu-ray with a bunch of trailers that you've seen 30,000 times by now. I was like, come on.
Hey, but you actually get to see them in like real quality instead of YouTube over
Yep.
compressed quality.
Oh wait, do you mean the turn 12 video is gonna make it in there in pristine quality?
Oh man, that'd be actually interesting. And actually, this is a really kind of, I guess, interesting thing to note about that specific video. But apparently, if you watch it on the PS4, the quality is better than what you get on the PC version for some reason.
Oh yeah, yeah. Who was it? You or was it Bookie? Someone was pointing it out that it was
Yeah.
different.
Like I haven't checked it out for myself, but a couple people in the free company did, and yeah, they said it was definitely looked better, which is surprising.
That's kind of sucks. That's how it is. That like the PC version gets the compressed version, and actually, oh man, I'm kind of curious if it looks compressed on the PS3 or not, because the PS4 was fine. Yeah, that would suck if even the PS3 version had like uncompressed or close to uncompressed or better quality than the PC version. But I don't know. But the collector's edition, like besides the trailers, like honestly, I still am not quite sure why I bought the physical one. I really just wanted the in-game items, the cane helm, it's the cane helm, the wind up, or
Yeah,
wait,
the wind-up cane helm and the wind-up cane and the Baron helm, which looks
sorry,
like
yeah, the Baron
Cecil.
helm and Cecil's helm. Sorry, his Dark Knight helm and the wind-up cane minion, and then the Griffin mount, or the three.
Yeah.
There's nothing else, right?
Those are the collector's edition items, but the pre-order items also include the Baron circlet and Baron earrings that Cecil wears as a paladin,
Oh
and
man.
a wind-up or a black chocobo courier chick that I think flies. It's like a flying minion.
Oh man. But yeah, John, just honestly, I thought the physical ones were gonna sell out really quickly. I thought there was gonna be rioting over not being able to get them, and then so be it. But oh well, that's not what happened. But I guess that's good. That oh my god.
I guess we have some guests on this thing.
Galen, what the hell is going on here?
I guess he's having a little fun.
Oh man.
Anyway,
There you go. Let's get some disagreement emotes in there for that. Um, by the way, this is one of our FC mates, Galen, who is in an outfit that rivals Cindy's, but we were not bitching about it because, it's the actual player deciding what they want to look like. If Galen wants to look like a severely underdressed cat girl and go kill themselves by jumping off the cliff there, that's cool. I don't know. So I guess I don't think we've really talked about this yet. Yes, the collector's edition's out. It's coming in June though, and they did admit that it was originally planned for May. Was it like May 18th? Yes,
16th
but
or 18th.
unfortunately
Yeah.
they couldn't do it. They couldn't hit that date, and they pushed it back to June 23rd. So we're getting it after E3. So we talked about this last time. We definitely did talk about it. So how we felt about it, but I think hearing the 11 announcement. Sorry, this is where I was trying to go with it. Hearing the 11 announcement that their expansion was coming out in May. Do you think that had any impact whatsoever, or is it just like a coincidence?
I think the timing is really interesting, and we can kind of be all conspiracy theorists about it all we want, but they kind of did the same thing, I think, when A Realm Reborn had its delay, and they pushed out some 11 content to sort of fill the gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a sort of strategic move there.
Yeah, I think Seekers of Adeline, which was their 5th major expansion, was developed maybe as sort of like a fallback just in case the Realm Reborn didn't quite take off as well as it did, which is fine. And I actually don't really think. I mean, it's possible that it is, but I don't think that Heavensward was delayed to allow for people to go check out 11 again. I'm sure that people will do that on their own accord, but I think they also kind of want people that have played 11 or are playing 11 right now. I do think that they want to coerce them over to 14 as much as they can, because that's the new MMO right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, 14 is still fairly new for at least the 2.0 version, so
Yeah, we're
they're
not
going to
even
be
at 2
supporting
years
it.
yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be supporting it with actual full-fledged content for quite some time. So.
Oh my god, what is this? Sorry, on the other stream right now, they're showing Dark Knight. They're showing red right now. Character model stuff for Heavensward.
Oh, you mean Dragoon?
Oh,
Was it Dark Knight? Are you talking
it's
about
Dragoon. I'm joking.
It's Dragoon.
Yeah, we like to tease.
They're showing a character model.
They're like showing out. This is kind of funny, actually. Sorry, it's pretty good. Yeah, they're just doing some 14 stuff. As you can see, like more of our FC people are joining us here. I really I'm not sure what else there is to like say other than despite the Square Enix stores, they kept making tweets saying we're bringing more servers online to alleviate the stress, and some of us were joking how come Heavensward time everyone's gonna have the login issues and we're not gonna be able to get in, and we're like, are they gonna tweet the same thing? We are bringing more servers to alleviate the login problems. That's not gonna happen.
I think everyone should go into Heavensward expecting that there's going to be launch congestion. It was like that for every World of Warcraft expansion that I experienced, so I don't think this game is going to be any different. So I think people, hopefully, will have some sort of expectation that maybe things will be a little rough for the first couple days. Maybe even early access too.
Yeah, I'm completely expecting a repeat of a Realm Reborn launch where...
Man, get ready for those queue lines.
Get ready for the... Well, better have a alt on a Japanese server so you can actually like log in.
Get ready for like broken instances and like the line to get into
instances. The line? Yep. No, that better not come back. Oh, that was so bad. That was pretty funny.
That was entertaining to me. I thought that was... For people who don't know, in the early days of A Realm Reborn, people were able to log into the game worlds, but a lot of the instances were down. And so what would happen is that the instance congestion was so bad that you had to kind of queue up one by one to be able to do like story mode instances. So you would see a long line of players standing like in line for like a concert or something, and they would, constantly creep forward. Oh man, now it's your turn to use the instance. Now it's your turn. It was pretty funny to watch, actually. Frustrating, but funny.
Honestly,
yeah, that's actually why I played on a Japanese server for a couple weeks, because, well, first of all, I couldn't even get into Ultros, and then because it was always full whenever I tried, and then like I had to review the game, so I couldn't waste time just waiting to get in, so I figured I might as well play my legacy character who was on a Japanese server, and the Japanese servers weren't having the same issues, so it was an easy choice.
I really, really hope we have lines again so that I can run up to the beginning of the line and scream and shout, get gaffed, and cut everyone off, and then anger everyone in the game.
That's kind of our reputation now, isn't it? Get gaffed.
Yep. And in fact, actually, it would be great if there was a way to aggro high-level mobs over and like kill everyone. This is what I spent half of my time in 14 thinking about.
Then you're gonna get GM jailed, and that'll be the end of that.
GM Sky Jail, hell yeah! I want to go to the Sky Jail. They put you on an island without a mount. You can't leave. So like they disable all your shit. And if you try and jump off, you just die and you can't respawn. That'd be great. Oh man. Uh,
Heaven's Word.
Heaven's Ward. Yep. Please look forward to it. Please look
Please look
Heaven's
Heaven's Word
Ward
to
to
it.
it. Oh man. Anything else? I can't remember if I'm forgetting anything or not. Is there any other?
Um,
I mean, there's
as
other.
far as this week goes, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things that are coming up for Final Fantasy XIV. Specifically, there's going to be a benchmark next month where
yeah.
you can try the
Oh,
Outlaw
yes.
character.
And the patch, the next patch is coming out on
Yes.
March 31st.
March 31st, Before the Fall Part 2, Battle of Ishgard.
So that'll be good. That'll be our like first.
There'll be stuff to do.
Like our bigger the bigger tease heading into Heaven's Ward of what to expect, and we'll get like a new CG trailer and all that.
Yeah, speaking of, I mean, a lot of people really dug that A Realm Reborn trailer that came at the end of Final Fantasy XIV 1.0. For those of you who don't know, there's actually going to be a live letter, I believe, on April 14th. That's going to, I believe, debut the opening cinematic for Heaven's Word. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that visual works awesomeness that we saw in the original trailer and most Square Enix trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing that trailer for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is like what Final Fantasy has been missing for years. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I was only going to say there was some other news this week we want to talk about. It's not related. In case anyone was wondering, shit's going down at Konami. No idea what the hell. Rumors and shit. And who knows what's going on there in Kojima. Hope it's blown out of proportion, but we're gonna wait till we get some more information about that because that's insane. And then no one else here likes Nintendo shit except for me, so all the Nintendo mobile shit news and stuff, like that's only
Oh yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I kind of didn't even read that stuff because I saw the headline and I was like, nope.
well, they also announced they're working on the code name of their new system, Project NX. So NX,
Man,
Project Nexus.
What are they gonna call it? The Wii 2?
No, hell no, they're not calling it. And no Wii shit, none of that. And I'm already calling it now.
Man.
So I know I screwed up on the 15 December thing. That was
You should
wrong.
call it the
but-
new Wii U.
But the new Zelda Wii U is going to be delayed to be a launch title on Project NX. It's going to be just like the Twilight Princess situation, where it's going to come out on NX first as a launch title and will come out on Wii U second, and we're going to have to wait for a year, at least a year, for it to come out. So Zelda Wii U is not coming out this year. It's not even coming out next year. It'll come out in 2017. It's going to come out on NX. Get
So you
hype.
think they're gonna pull a Twilight Princess with it?
Yep, they're gonna pull a Twilight Princess. It's gonna be so good. Gonna be the best thing ever, and everyone's
Man, you
gonna be
heard it
super.
here first on GT.
People are gonna be upset about it, but look at everyone in the chat's like, no, boo. Actually, you know what? They probably will not do that again. I think they saw how badly that went over with fans. But who the frick knows what NX is? The people mistakenly said it was going to bridge the gap between mobile and consoles, but that was for something else. It actually wasn't describing the console. So it is a console. It is a dedicated gaming machine. So it is not going to be a phone. So they said they'll talk about next year. So next E3, everyone. Not even this E3. I think they're waiting too long to talk about it. So. Anyway, yeah, we're not talking about Nintendo because everyone in Gaff Mumble hates Nintendo.
What?
Or Gaff
I don't
FC,
think
sorry.
that's true.
Everyone hates Nintendo. especially cat girl Galen. Galen hates Nintendo.
What is he doing?
Oh, what is going on? This is
man.
like terrible.
See, I told you. No, last night I said we should have just gone to my house, and I should have locked the door.
I know. We're getting towards the end, so I shouted the location because I wanted everyone to come crash it. but they took forever.
That
Oh
was a
no.
mistake.
We
That
picked
was a mistake.
we picked a good time though, so for now on, we just gotta do it at a certain time when no one is on or no one cares, and we'll be fine. We we figured it out. This is
This is
insanity.
ridiculous.
All right, yeah, we're kind of meandering here at this point, but I think everyone's kind of like enjoying the spectacle of what the hell is going on here. Uh, any closing thoughts on this week's news? Or do you guys want to do your kind of like send offs?
Well, I think that this week has been kind of like up and down in terms of news. Like on one side, you have like the positive stuff with Type 0 coming out and the 15 demo being actually real and something that we can play. And then the FF11 stuff kind of made me a little depressed. And then all the other stuff that we kind of briefly mentioned but didn't really talk about because they're not Final Fantasy related. But I think on the whole, though, like the fact that we actually have some Final Fantasy things to play aside from 14 is really cool, and definitely been waiting a long time for something not 14 to play. So
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. I mean, Heavensward is probably my most anticipated game right now, probably because it's coming within a relatively short amount of
oh,
time.
definitely. I mean, 3 months basically from
Yeah.
today. So
hmm But I mean, I guess no, Heaven. I'm sorry, episode Duscae. I'm really optimistic about where this direction is going for Square, just for the numbered Final Fantasy series. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns and worries that I still have about it, but I feel like that's only natural for the kind of turbulent period that we've just come out of franchise wise. Um, but I'm really optimistic about where that game is going. I really think that people should also play Type Zero as well. Um, it took a long time to get that game over here. There was a lot of fans that did a lot of work doing pressure campaigns to try to convince Square Enix to bring it over sooner rather than later. And although it took a while, I'm really glad that we're able to kind of partake in the fruits of their efforts. Um, Also, maybe one thing, if it's okay to plug, we did a collaborative we did a collaborative Type Zero HD anniversary magazine with a bunch of different fan sites and people that cover the news. So maybe
yes, we did.
Damiani, if you want to pimp that link at some point. We did a we did a fan magazine that just takes you through the development of Type Zero.
Yeah,
A lot of
and we
different opinions.
actually showed this magazine to Square Enix, and they liked it, and they were very appreciative of the
Oh
effort
gosh, I
that
hope
went
they
into
did.
it.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So yeah, definitely check that out because it's a thing to be celebrated. We didn't expect it, this long for the game to be localized, but here it is. It's finally out, so let's celebrate. And that magazine is a reflection of a lot of different fan site writers, and so I hope you guys enjoy that.
And I will
You bet.
say, I wanted to say like one thing for people looking forward to stuff. Definitely, you guys need to go check that out if you can, especially if you have any interest in Final Fantasy, especially Type Zero. I got to take a sneak peek at it. It was pretty cool looking. Like looked like a lot of hard work went into it, so it's pretty legit. I if you guys just like, I'll retweet the tweet. If you have a tweet with the link to it, I'll just do that on
Sure.
my
We'll get
account.
that set up after.
Yeah, we'll do that after. So if you just like follow any of our accounts on here, you'll be able to check it out. We'll send it out. As far as game trailer stuff, next episode of the Kingdom Hearts Mysteries, like the script is for the episode 3 is pretty much done. The editor who usually edits it has been gone for a little bit. We'll be back, I believe, next week. So we're hopefully trying to still get it up by the end of the month. And then hopefully we'll also get the 4th episode out in April. Again, like still don't know what's going on with me come end of April. Hopefully, we'll have more. We'll get that figured out or something, whether or not like what's going on there, because I know a lot of you want to know what's happening and stuff. But on a brighter note, like hopefully we will have episode 3 out this month. It's gonna be covering Xehanort, and then we have episode 4 hopefully coming out middle of next month. And I think episode 4 is one everyone should definitely watch because it's gonna cover a lot of stuff that you probably don't know, even if you've played the handheld and console games, because it delves into some stuff that you likely have never seen or experienced. It's pretty good. And but also check out episode 3 because it's gonna be pretty good. And also because we are going to be paying tribute, a little bit of tribute and respect to both the recently passed away voice actors for Xehanort in Japanese and English. So there'll be like a nice little tribute to them as well. So on a somber note. And yeah, so those are coming your way this month and next month, hopefully. So we have not forgotten about those; they're still coming. So look out for them. And yeah, we want to kind of so for this, we still don't have a name for this. So if you have any name suggestions,
It's
let
just
us
some
know.
names, guys.
Yeah, we last one was called Past PAX East Reactions. This one's just called Final Fantasy Week. We don't have an actual name for this yet. We'd like to keep doing this as like news comes out. I don't know if it'll be weekly or maybe every other week, but yeah, it will be happening. It will continue to happen. We just gotta like figure out some other stuff. Especially first and foremost, what the name of this is gonna be, because we can't just keep calling it random stuff, because otherwise it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Give us a name, guys.
Yeah, so if you want to help us out, like we'd be totally appreciative if you have some cool names. As an example, like I don't know if it's just gonna be RPG focused or whatnot, but like I love the name for the other RPG centric podcast, the Active Time Babble. So you can think of something clever like that that plays off a common RPG term, but like twist around like some of it to be about talking or podcasting or discussions. Not only will it be very happy and appreciative, but you have a future in marketing, and you should get that on your resume right away. But anyway, I think yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for watching, and yeah, just follow our Twitter accounts. They should be up right now. The top one is our personal accounts. The bottom one is the sites we work for. Follow our personal accounts because that's probably where you're going to be able to get updates on when we're going to be doing this, and hopefully we'll have something a little bit more concrete put together so we could more than 15 minutes before we go live we could let you know when the next one's going to be. And yeah, maybe we'll like expand it to have an extra guest on next time. But yeah, share your thoughts with us. Just tweet at us, any one of us. Let us know your thoughts. That's the best way to give us feedback and suggestions at this point. So yeah, hopefully you like it, and hopefully we can do it at a time when everyone's like able to watch and stuff. I don't know if this time was good for everyone. So thank you again, and yeah, I took a screenshot. I didn't do an emote. That was bad. I'm actually doing an emote this time for the sign off. So see you next time.